November 1st, November 17th, November 24th, December 1st, August 24th. 5 dates. 1 pregnancy. None of them want to sit in the same room. And the wildest part, she said all 5 out loud, on stream, while a baby kicked and a manager named Wack 100 sat there with his receipts open like he was charging her rent. Y'all, I sat with this clip for 2 hours. Rewound it more times than I should admit. And I'm telling you right now, this ain't a cheating story. This is a calendar story. The cheating is the appetizer. Let me say that part louder for the people who clicked in late. The cheating allegation? That's the headline. That's the bait. That's what the thumbnails are using to pull traffic. But the real meal, the part that's gonna sit in your stomach for a week after you watch this, is the timeline. Because cheating allegations end when the couple posts a vacation photo. Timeline questions end when a DNA test gets faxed. One is a season finale. The other is a series finale. And we're watching the series finale unfold in real time, on a Twitch stream, with a manager moonlighting as a prosecutor. Quick one before we drop in. If hip-hop chaos served lukewarm somewhere else is what you usually settle for, you in the wrong tab. Tap that subscribe. Smash the bell. Hit like if Wack 100 reading her for filth gave you secondhand stress. We rolling. What actually happened? So here's the bones. Blueface, Jonathan Porter, is back home after a stretch. His girlfriend Nevaeh Akira, the one some of y'all know as NA, is pregnant. Allegedly his. Reportedly due August 24th, 2026. Confirmed publicly by the couple in February. The stream was just a stream. Twitch chat doing chat things. Then Wack 100, Blueface longtime manager, the guy who actually reads comments instead of dodging them, slid into the room. NA came downstairs, and what was supposed to be regular live stream noise turned into the closest thing to a deposition this side of TMZ. He didn't yell. That's what made it nasty. He just kept asking. And that's the part you gotta understand about the energy in that room. There's a version of this confrontation where Wack walks in hot, voice up, finger pointing. And if that's how it went down, Nevaeh wins the clip. Because then the framing becomes older man bullies pregnant woman on stream and the entire internet flips the camera on him. He knew that. So he did the opposite. He Saturday. He asked. He waited. He let her words do the labor. That is not improvisation. That is a man who has sat across from federal lawyers, label executives, and gang mediators for 30 years. He brought the same posture into a Twitch stream that he would bring into a contract renegotiation. Calm is a weapon when the person across from you is panicking. And she was panicking. You could hear it in the cadence. The over-explaining. The wait, let me say it different. The looping back to clean up a sentence that hadn't even cooled off yet. Now watch what she said. Lock in. These are her words. Exact. From the stream, the internet won't stop clipping. On the platonic boyfriend. He's just a friend. Okay. 2 beats later. Same conversation. Same breath. I had fun in November, and I had fun all the way to December in the middle to the 18th. That word. Fun. She picked it. Nobody handed it to her. And this is the place to pause. Because word choice is the whole ballgame here. Fun is not a neutral filler. Fun is a word people use when they're trying to obscure the verb. If she meant we hung out, she'd have said hung out. If she meant we drank, she'd have said we drank. Fun is the verbal equivalent of holding your jacket closed when you're hiding something behind it. And the giveaway isn't even the word itself. It's the fact that she felt the need to redefine it 10 minutes later when chat got loud. People don't redefine neutral words. They redefine incriminating ones. Pressed about the same dude. I can tell my hand how many times I done did it. But it was like with him. Cool. So a friend. With benefits. Who got benefits more than once. In a window that overlaps the window. We're keeping score, by the way. And here's the kicker on this one. Though I can tell my hand how many times construction is doing 2 jobs at once. It's trying to minimize not that many times, while simultaneously confirming more than 0, more than 1. And I remember the count. That is a confession dressed up as a denial. In court, that gets called an admission against interest. On a Twitch stream, it gets called a clip. Then Wack hits her with the jail question. The one Blueface himself reportedly never asked her face to face. Did you give him any visual entertainment? I don't remember. She doesn't remember. A small one. A real one. Not loud. Just dead in the A. I don't remember is the most expensive sentence in this entire stream. Because if the answer is no, the answer is no. No is a one-syllable word. It costs nothing. It exits the mouth in a quarter of a second. The fact that her brain reached past no and grab I don't remember tells you the database came back with results she didn't want to read out loud. Memory loss on a yes or no question that involves your own body is not memory loss. It's a stall. And finally, the receipt that pulled the whole tablecloth off the table when Wack pointed out a song playing in the background of an old Twitch clip of hers. That song was a timestamp. Her response: he only been out 7 months. Read that again. Slowly, because the math we're about to do, she set the table for it. All right, phone's down. Stay with me. Blueface walked out of prison on November 3rd, 2025. That date isn't a rumor. His own father broke it down on camera. Nevaeh's stated last period, November 17th through November 24th, 2025. Her words, same source. A professional on a follow-up real peg conception at December 1st, 2025, with a due date locked at August 24th, 2026. That math works. Barely, but it works. Here's where the floor creaks. On the stream, she said it herself, I had fun in November and I had fun all the way to December, to the 18th. She also said, the deleted post, the timestamp song, I had fun in November. And when chat pushed back, she pivoted, said she meant partying, drinking, smoking, that kind of fun. Actually, hold on, back up. Because the first time she said it, Wack went straight at it. You said you had fun in November, up until December with him. And her clarification didn't arrive until the room got loud. That's the part the clip sharers keep replaying. And there's a behavioral pattern in that sequence that I want y'all to clock, because it shows up over and over in interrogation footage. Not just his, anybody's. The first version of a statement is the honest one. The second version is the corrected one. The third version is the rehearsed one. By the time the chat got loud and she pivoted to I meant partying, she was already on version 2, watching her own words land in real time and adjusting on the fly. Nobody who's telling a clean story has to do that. A clean story has one version. It's the same on Monday as it is on Friday. The fact that we got 3 versions of fun inside 10 minutes, that's not bad luck. That's a draft being edited live. So we got Blueface released November 3rd. We got her cycle starting November 17th. We got fun with the friend running deep into November and into December. We got conception December 1st. And we got baby that Pachat. And Pachat is who runs this show, apparently, is dropping early. You don't need to be an OBGYN to feel the squeeze in those numbers. You just got to count. And here's the count nobody on the stream said out loud, but everybody in the chat was typing. Between November 3rd and December 1st, you have a 28-day window. Inside that window, Blueface is home for the entire stretch. Also inside that window, by her own admission, fun was happening with somebody else who is just a friend. The dual occupancy of that window is the entire problem. A pregnancy conceived on December 1st doesn't, by itself, tell you who the father is. It tells you when the meeting happened. Who attended the meeting is a separate document. And right now, by her own testimony, there were at least 2 RSVPs. 3 little things. Each one's a fingerprint. The song timestamp. Wack didn't catch her on a quote. He caught her on a song. Background audio in an old Twitch clip. A track that, per his read, only dropped after Blueface came home. Her counter was the 7 months line, which, if you sit with it, was supposed to be a defense. It wasn't. It was a confession of timeline awareness. She knew exactly how long he'd been out, down to the month. That's not a clean accident. Think about how unusual that is. Ask anyone, casually, how long their partner has been home from anything, a deployment, a job, a trip, and you'll get rounded answers. Like, half a year. Since last fall. A while now. You don't get 7 months with the confidence of someone who has been ticking off a wall calendar. The precision is the tell. She's been tracking that clock because she has reasons to track that clock. Innocent people don't keep a stopwatch on their partner's release date. The Mary hypothetical. Wack tried to ease it in. Let's just say a lady named Mary. The oldest soft interrogation move in the book. She refused to play. Wouldn't even entertain the scenario. There's no what ifs. There's no plan in my head. 5 times she shut it down. 5. And listen, innocent people love hypotheticals. Innocent people will sit and game it out with you all day because there's no exposure. The ones who slam that door, they got a draft they don't want to read out loud. That move, the hypothetical, is something cops teach in interview school as the read techniques bait question. The whole point is to get a guilty party to walk into a scenario they think is theoretical and watch them flinch. The flinch is the data. 5 refusals isn't 5 refusals. It's 1 refusal repeated 5 times because every time the hypothetical landed near her, she felt the heat. A person with nothing to hide treats, let's just say like a board game. A person with something to hide treats it like a tripwire. The reported Twitch. Chat surfaced that Nevaeh allegedly reported Blueface Twitch. Got his main account flagged at some point during the cycle of jail messages, the side dude phase, the FaceTime question. She denied it. Soft denial. The kind that doesn't actually deny. He didn't say I said it. Somebody in the chat said that. Real talk. That's not a no. That's a deflection wearing a nose jacket. The giveaway on that one is the structure of the sentence. A real denial would be I didn't report his Twitch. Subject, verb, object. Done. Her version puts the conversation on the chat, meaning the chat is wrong about the source, not necessarily wrong about the act. That's a lawyer's denial. That's somebody buying time without committing perjury. One more, because I can't leave it alone. The dropped stomach thing. Chat clocked her belly had visibly dropped. She's currently around 18 to 19 weeks pregnant per her own count. Stomachs don't drop at 19. Stomachs drop late 3rd trimester. Now, bodies do weird things. Every pregnancy is its own animal, and I'm not gonna sit here and play doctor. But the whole chat saw the same thing at the same time, and her response was to deflect to her aunt's witchcraft jar. Which, yeah, we'll get to that. Because that detail. The aunt, the jar, the witchcraft pivot. That is the moment the stream stopped being a paternity conversation and started being a folklore conversation. And I don't say that to mock anybody's beliefs. I say it because deflection to the supernatural is one of the oldest moves in the human conversation playbook. When the natural explanation gets uncomfortable, you reach for the unnatural one. It changes the subject. It makes the questioner look mean if they push further. It preloads the audience with a built-in excuse for whatever the body does next. If the baby comes early, it's the jar. If the baby looks like somebody else, it's the jar. If the test comes back funny, it's the jar. Notice how flexible the explanation is. That flexibility is the whole point. You'll let me put a different lens on this for a second, because I don't think we've sat with the human side enough. A 22-year-old woman is on stream. She's pregnant. She is being asked, in real time, in front of tens of thousands of strangers, to defend the chronology of her own uterus. That is, and I mean this, one of the most surreal interrogations the modern internet has invented. There is no precedent for this in pre-2020 media. There is no equivalent in 1990s tabloid culture. This is a brand new form of public examination, and we are watching the first generation of women have to learn how to survive it on the fly. So when I clock her stalls, her redefinitions, her witchcraft pivot, I'm not clocking them because she's some uniquely dishonest person. I'm clocking them because she's a human being trying to manage a panic response with 100,000 eyes on her. The behavior makes psychological sense. The problem is, psychological sense and exoneration are two different things. Understanding why somebody freezes does not unfreeze the question. What's quietly fascinating is the role reversal in the room. Traditionally, the manager is the guy who shields the artist from a pregnancy scandal. Wack flipped the script. He went on his client by openly pressure testing the mother of the child in front of an audience. That is a non-traditional management decision, and it tells you everything you need to know about how the front office is reading the financials of this baby. They are not betting on the relationship. They are hedging the kid. And Blueface himself, quiet in the corner, That part deserves its own paragraph. Because a man who has spent 5 years monetizing chaos suddenly went silent on the day his name was attached to the chaos. He let his manager run point. He let his father run the timeline math on a separate reel. He didn't ask the FaceTime question. He didn't ask the song timestamp question. He let the entire team ask the questions he should have been asking in private 6 months ago, with his shoes off. The silence is loud. It tells you he either already knows, already suspects, already decided he doesn't want the answer until paperwork forces it. Same stream, same words, wildly different reads depending on what corner of the internet you're standing in. The legacy outlets, your complex, your hot new hip-hop, they covered the announcement clean. Couple expecting first child. Polite. Brand safe. No commentary on the math. They're not gonna touch the Wack 100 stream with gloves on. Liability City. The gossip ecosystem. Shade Room. Tasha K.S. Lane. The Blue Rock style aggregators went the other way. Tasha K already had the table set from Nevaeh's earlier interview where she admitted to 6 prior terminations. So when the new clips hit, the framing was instant. This is a pattern conversation, not a moment conversation. That's a heavier read. A meaner one. Fair? Debatable. Loud? Definitely. And then the comment section corner, the one where rapper Taboo, the alleged side guy, started posting back, is literally on record saying Blueface is asking Nevaeh all the wrong questions. That's not nothing. That's a man with knowledge of the room offering to grade the test. And let's sit on the Taboo angle for a second because it's the most overlooked piece in the whole puzzle. When a third party, somebody outside the relationship, feels confident enough to publicly grade the questions, that's not a man trolling. That's a man who knows the answers. You don't volunteer to be an examiner on a test you didn't take. The fact that he chose to phrase it as wrong questions, not stop harassing her, not leave my friend alone, tells you he believes there are right questions, and he believes he knows what those right questions would expose. That kind of confidence comes from receipts. Whether he ever shows them is a separate matter. But the posture is the receipt. Now, the Steelman, the fave version. Because I'm not interested in dragging somebody just to drag him. Defenders will say, pregnant women get harassed online about due dates constantly. The math is fuzzy because cycles are fuzzy. Fun doesn't have to mean what chat thinks it means. And a friend can stay a friend even after a moment of weakness. All of that. Fine. Reasonable. Not crazy. But here's where it falls apart for me. Innocent people answer the FaceTime question. They don't say I don't remember. Innocent people walk through Mary. They don't slam the hypothetical shut 5 times. Innocent people don't say fun in December and then spend 10 minutes redefining what fun meant after the room reacted. You don't have to convict her, but you can't acquit her on this stream. Not on what she put on the table herself. There's a layer to this whole thing that doesn't get enough airtime, and it's the brand math. Nevaeh Akira is not just a girlfriend. She is, by her own positioning, a content figure. Twitch, Instagram, the whole pipeline. She is monetizing her proximity to a rapper. That's not a slight. It's a job description that has existed since Yoko Ono and gotten more sophisticated every decade. The Kardashian playbook. The Quavo era. The Crisin Blueface era she's currently inheriting. Proximity is the asset class. So when she sat down on that stream, she wasn't just defending a relationship. She was defending a brand position. Because the second the paternity question becomes louder than the pregnancy announcement, the value of the proximity drops. Sponsors get nervous. The follower count plateaus. The first baby announcement she and Blueface dropped in February. The complex headline, the polite rollout, was supposed to be a brand builder. The Wack 100 stream turned it into a brand liability inside one afternoon. Now compare that to Blueface brand math. Different equation entirely. Chaos has historically been his asset, not his liability. Every messy headline turned into streams. Every public fight turned into a podcast clip. The man has been monetizing instability since 2019. So for him, the Wack 100 confrontation is actually content neutral. Maybe even content positive. It keeps his name trending. It puts eyes on his next release. He loses nothing in the engagement column. What he loses, if the math is wrong, is in the legal column. and legal columns aren't visible until 18 years later. That asymmetry, her brand bleeds while his brand absorbs, is the quiet engine under this entire stream. She had more to lose by sitting down. He had more to lose by not letting somebody else ask the questions for him. Wack 100 split the difference and absorbed the heat for both of them, because that's what a manager does when the asset can't take a punch and the partner can't take a question. Mainstream framing on this whole arc has been messy couple, messy pregnancy, mess. The end. File it under Blueface Drama, Volume 47. Move on. Nah, there's something heavier under it. Pull the camera back. Blueface has, between Jaden Alexis and Kristen Rock, already been through this exact storyline twice. Public pregnancies, public timeline questions, public DNA conversations. He's been on camera laughing about getting another woman pregnant. The blueprint of his romantic life is chaos, content, child, repeat. So why does this one feel different? Because for the first time, the manager stepped in. Wack 100, a man who has, fairly or unfairly, been accused his whole career of running protect their asset offense, pulled up on a live stream and ran defense on his client's paternity certainty. That's not relationship advice. That's risk management. And risk management at that level happens when somebody up the chain looked at the numbers and went, yeah, we need clarity before this baby's birth certificate hits a Google index. That's the read. The pregnancy isn't the story. The paternity insurance policy is the story. Here's the part the soft outlets won't print. The manager isn't worried about Blueface heart. The manager is worried about Blueface wallet, his roster, his name on a piece of paper for the next 18 years. And when Wack started asking the questions Blueface himself wouldn't ask, that's a man drawing a line in the sand on behalf of his business interest. The romance is incidental. The contract is the point. And honestly, hard to be mad at him for it. Cold-blooded, but not wrong. Because here's what nobody wants to say out loud. Child support in California, for somebody at Blueface earning bracket, isn't a check, it's a structure. We're talking about a recurring deduction that follows him through every record deal, every boxing match post, every Twitch payout, every brand deal, for the next 18 years minimum. If the kid is his, that's a cost of doing business. Fair, expected, factored in. If the kid isn't his and he signs the paper anyway, that's not child support. That's a tax on naivety. And nobody in the Wack 100 organization is in the business of paying naivety taxes. That's the entire reason the stream went the direction it went. Countertakes I already see coming. You're not a doctor. Stop counting days. True, I'm counting words. She gave us the words. This is just chat being toxic to a pregnant woman. Also true sometimes. Also not what was happening in that room. The chat wasn't the inquisitor. The manager was. Blueface is the cheater. Leave her alone. He absolutely has been. Documented. Repeatedly. And that doesn't erase the math on this baby's calendar. Why are you all so invested? Because she went on a public stream with a public manager on a public timeline and answered public questions. The invitation came from inside the house. The closing thought is short. It's just this. The only person in that room not asking questions was the man whose name is going on the certificate. That should bother him more than it bothers us. Let's zoom all the way out for a minute. There's a pattern in Blueface romantic catalog that explains why this particular stream landed the way it did. Jaden Alexis, long-term, multiple children, public engagement, public fallouts, public reconciliations. The relationship that became the foundation of his entire brand mythology. Kristen Rock, the chaos era, the on-camera fights, the public pregnancy, the DNA conversation that played out across 3 different platforms. And now Nevaeh, the post-prison girlfriend, the rebuilt public life partner, the announcement of Fresh Start arc. 3 women, 3 pregnancies inside a 5-year span. 3 different DNA conversations, each one louder than the last. That is not a coincidence. That is a pattern, and patterns get priced into management's behavior. By the time Wack 100 walked into that Twitch stream, he had already lived through 2 cycles of this exact storyline. He's seen what happens when the artist gets sentimental. He's seen what happens when the artist doesn't ask the question. He's seen the legal bills, the back and forth on social, the months of headlines that follow. So when the third one started showing the same warning signs, the late-night posts, the timestamp song, the friend who keeps showing up, Wack didn't wait for the artist to handle it. He intercepted. That is what experience looks like in a management contract. Cold, fast, and unsentimental. The lesson the industry is gonna take from this, and it'll happen quietly, in conversations we don't see, is that managers can now use streams as evidentiary hearings. Wack just demonstrated, on tape, that a live stream can function as a low-cost, high-reach paternity vetting tool. Other camps are watching. Other camps are taking notes. Don't be shocked when the next high-profile pregnancy controversy involves a manager pulling up to a stream with a list of questions. The playback is now public. The comments under every re-upload of this clip are not a monolith. There are at least 6 distinct camps, and each one is reading the stream through a completely different lens. Camp 1. The calendar forensics crew. These are the people with screenshots, OBGYN charts, and gestational calculators in their bias. They are not here for the drama. They are here for the math. Their entire engagement model is to post a side-by-side image of the November 3rd release date and the December 1st conception date with a magnifying glass emoji. They are the most influential camp because they create the visuals that everybody else reposts. Camp 2. The pregnancy defenders. These are mostly women, often mothers, who are tired of watching a young woman get publicly dissected. Their argument is structural. Pregnant women deserve protection, period, regardless of the rumors. They are not necessarily defending Nevaeh's behavior. They're defending the principle. And they are loud, organized, and quick to call any commentary on the math harassment dressed up as analysis. Camp 3. The Blueface loyalists. They've been on the train since Thusiana. They will defend the chaos. The pregnancy is, to them, just the next chapter. They want the DNA test, they want the receipts, and they want a song out of it. Engagement, to this camp, is the point. Camp 4. The anti-Wack lane. A whole subset of the comments don't care about the pregnancy. They're using the moment to relitigate every Wack 100 controversy of the last decade. Game, Nipsey, every podcast clip. For them, stream is just a fresh excuse to pile on a manager they already hated. Camp 5. The taboo truthers. These are the ones who watch the alleged side guy's response reel and are convinced he's about to drop receipts. They are refreshing his page. They want screenshots, timestamps, voice notes. This camp is the most volatile because they are one Instagram story away from blowing the whole thing open or being exposed as wrong. Camp 6. The industry watchers. Small camp, quiet camp, but influential. These are the podcasters, the management-adjacent voices, the artist friends who are watching this whole thing and taking notes for their own situations. They are not posting. They are learning. And they are the ones who will repeat this playback in their own crews when the moment hits. 6 camps, 1 stream, and the algorithm is feeding each of them a different version of the same clip, edited to confirm what they already believe when they open the app. That's not a single news story. That's 6 parallel news stories happening simultaneously inside one piece of footage. I told you we'd come back to the aunt's witchcraft jar. And we have to, because it's the strangest single moment in the entire stream and it deserves a proper unpacking. When chat called out the dropped belly, Nevaeh pivoted to her aunt in a jar. The story, as best as anybody could follow it in real time, involved some kind of familicide ritual that she invoked as the explanation for whatever the audience was seeing physically. Now, there's a respectful way to read that and a less respectful way. The respectful version. In plenty of cultures, especially Black American and Caribbean traditions, the supernatural framing of pregnancy and family conflict is genuine, lived, and not performative. People believe what they believe, and it's not my place to grade their faith. The less respectful version, the one the chat ran with, is that the jar was a narrative escape hatch, a pre-built excuse system. Because if you front-load the supernatural explanation now, then any unexpected outcome later, early delivery, surprising features on the baby, surprising lab results, can be folded into the same explanation. You can't argue with a jar. The jar wins every debate by refusing to participate in one. That's the duality this stream keeps producing. Almost every defensive move Nevaeh made functioned simultaneously as a sincere statement and as a strategic one. The "just a friend" sentence can be true and a deflection. The "I don't remember" can be honest and convenient. The jar can be real and rhetorical. And that ambiguity, that two things at once quality, is exactly why the audience can't agree on what they watched. Half of them saw a woman telling her truth. The other half saw a woman building escape hatches in real time. Both halves are watching the same footage. Both halves are technically right. The next 60 days are about to be louder than the last 60, and I'll tell you why. Watch how fast the DNA conversation goes after the baby comes to "let's just go ahead and book the test." She volunteered to take one on stream. Wack already said Ray J's people are sending independent testers. The minute Blueface even hesitates to lock in a hospital, Cedars, the one in Willing Hills she mentioned, doesn't matter. Pick one. The chat is gonna eat him alive. Don't be shocked if a clinic gets named before the end of the month and a date gets put on paper before the third trimester ends. The pressure's compounding too fast for him to stall. The path that flips the table is the one nobody's mapping. Imagine the baby comes early, say anywhere from late June through July. Just imagine. The internet's already rehearsed the joke. Which baby? Voodoo timeline. Captain Chat was right. If that delivery date lands more than 2 weeks ahead of August 24th, this story stops being a live stream argument and becomes a meme that follows that child's name forever. In the opposition camp, the side dude lane, the taboo corner, those guys are sitting on their phones with screenshots dated, captioned, and queued up. They lose the second she delivers on schedule. They go nuclear the second she doesn't. The 5U aftershock is the one I want you all to lock into. Because what gets remembered from a moment like this isn't the cheating allegations. It isn't even the math. It's the manager interrogation on a Twitch stream. That clip is gonna outlive everybody's relationship status. It's gonna get reposted every time Blueface drops a record, every time Nevaeh launches a brand, every time their kid Googles a parent's names for the first time. The industry residue is heavy on this one, because we just watched the music business openly use a live stream as a paternity vetting tool in front of an audience. That's a new playbook. And once a playbook gets written, somebody else is gonna run it. The favored side here, and I'm putting my chips down, is whichever camp gets to the medical paperwork first. Not the loudest, not the funniest, the fastest to a real document. Because everything else is content. Paper is the only thing that ends a story like this. Let me draw out 3 scenarios, because I think we owe the audience more than a single guess. Scenario A, the clean outcome. Baby arrives on or near August 24th, 2026. DNA test happens. Results confirm Blueface is the father. The relationship survives or doesn't. The chat moves on to the next storyline. This is the boring outcome. It's also, statistically, the most likely one. Because most pregnancy timelines, even messy ones, end in unremarkable paperwork. Underestimate the boring outcome. It's the one that quietly wins most of these stories. Scenario B, the disrupted outcome. Baby arrives early, late June or July, and the math becomes a public, permanent meme. DNA test happens anyway, and one of 2 sub-outcomes lands. Either Blueface is still the father and the early delivery just becomes a footnote, or he isn't, and the entire arc becomes one of the defining hip-hop paternity scandals of the decade. The second sub-outcome rewrites his career. Scenario C, the stalled outcome. No test happens. No clinic gets named. The baby comes. The certificate gets signed. And a question hangs over everybody's career like a fog that never burns off. This is the worst outcome for the audience because it never resolves, but it's the most strategically convenient one for whoever doesn't want the answer. Don't rule it out. Plenty of celebrity paternity questions have lived in the fog forever because the fog is cheaper than the test. If I had to put weights on them, and I'm just one voice in a sea of takes, I'd say Scenario A is 50%, Scenario C is 30%, Scenario B is 20%. But the percentages move every time somebody on the stream opens their mouth, and we have 90 more days of mouths opening. Until then, buckle in. We got about 90 days of escalating clips and I don't see a single off-ramp. The thing I keep coming back to, the thing I want you all to leave this video with, is the unfamiliar shape of what we just watched. A young woman, pregnant, sat down on a video game streaming platform and was asked by her partner's professional manager to publicly account for the chronology of conception. That sentence would have been incoherent in 2010. It would have been a legal liability in 2015. In 2025, it was Tuesday afternoon programming. The internet didn't just normalize this. The internet invented this. And every time one of these moments happens, every time a stream becomes a deposition, every time a chat becomes a jury, every time a manager becomes a prosecutor, the template gets sharper, the audience gets more practiced, and the next person who walks into a situation like this is going to have a harder time getting out of it than the last. That's the cultural residue under the headline. Not the cheating, not the math. The format is the story. The format is what's going to outlive everyone in that room. You made it the whole way. That means something. Hit subscribe, smash the bell, drop a like, and tell me in the comments where you think this baby actually arrives. July? August? Are you on Team Calendar Don't Lie or Team Leave the Pregnant Woman Alone? Part 2 is already loading on this. Wack 100's next move is gonna decide everything. Stay close. This is Celeb Virex. Out.